When two broken hearts meet in a moment they never expected, destiny whispers louder than fear. Hey family. Welcome to Sir Brad Stories, where real emotions, real lessons, and real-life moments come alive. If you're new here, make yourself at home, and if you're returning, thank you for being part of this family. Before we dive in, bestie, please like this video, drop a comment, and subscribe. It helps YouTube push this story so more people can hear it. Now, let me take you to a hospital hallway in Houston, the kind of hallway where a single moment can change a lifetime. Lily Price stood there, holding a folder against her growing belly, dressed in simple scrubs, her face glowing with the softness of someone who walked closely with faith. Her rounded stomach was impossible to hide now. She was carrying a quiet miracle she'd kept hidden for months. She wasn't supposed to be at that hospital anymore. She wasn't supposed to see him again. She wasn't supposed to face the very man who held every unanswered question in her heart. Yet life has a way of circling back to the truth. Lily tightened her grip on the folder and whispered a prayer under her breath. She hadn't rehearsed this moment. She hadn't prepared her heart. All she wanted was to leave the building quickly after visiting a friend's newborn. But the moment she stepped into the hallway, she stopped breathing. Liam Wentworth, millionaire tech widower, father of a fragile little boy, and the man she once loved silently in the shadows, froze in front of her. He didn't move, didn't blink, didn't even adjust the stroller he was pushing. His eyes locked on her swollen belly. The world between them shifted. His fiancée, Fiona, stood a few steps behind him, bright smile fading as she followed his gaze. Her heels clicked lightly, but her voice failed her. She wasn't expecting to confront a past she didn't know existed. Lily swallowed slowly, steady, but shaking. Liam whispered her name, Lily, like he had just seen a ghost carrying his future. Her hand gently brushed her stomach. His chest rose sharply. Fiona's expression changed from confusion to concern, to realization. This was the moment everything began to fall apart for them, and finally fall into place for Lily. Because this wasn't just surprise. This wasn't just shock. This was the kind of truth that rearranges two lives at once. Standing in that hallway, with a baby stroller between them and a lifetime of unspoken feelings hovering in the air, Liam's world cracked open as he whispered, "Are you carrying my child, bestie?" That's where our story truly begins. They say life has a way of circling you back to the people who were meant to teach you something, or heal something you didn't even know was wounded. So let me ask you, family, everyone listening, everyone watching, everyone who ever tried to protect their heart, have you ever walked away from someone, convinced it was the right thing, only to find life pulling you right back to them when you least expected it? Have you ever tried to rebuild yourself, distance yourself, or pray your way through a situation, only for your heart to whisper, "You're not done here yet"? Have you ever thought you'd moved on, until a single moment, a single look, or a single truth reminded you that some connections don't fade? They just wait? Because that's what happened to Lily. She didn't plan to fall for anyone, especially not a man who had just lost his wife. She didn't expect to become the one person he clung to on the worst night of his life. She didn't expect her kindness to turn into comfort, her comfort to turn into closeness, or that closeness to turn into something so deep it scared them both. She tried to step away. She tried to rebuild. She tried to honor her faith, her boundaries, and her calling as a nurse. But life didn't let her stay gone. And now she stood in front of the man she once prayed for from a distance, carrying a piece of him he never knew existed. Family, let me ask you one more thing. Have you ever thought you closed a chapter, only for God to reopen the very page you tried to turn? Because that is exactly where Lily and Liam found themselves. And that moment in the hallway? It wasn't an accident. It was alignment. Before that hospital hallway, before the shock, before the tears, before the truth, there was a woman who lived her life by one belief. If God puts you in the room, you're meant to be there. Lily Price had never imagined that belief would pull her into the middle of a storm she did not create. She was supposed to be the nurse who simply did her job. The nurse who held new mothers' hands. The nurse who prayed quietly over tiny cribs. The nurse who went home to a humble apartment, a gospel playlist, and her grandmother's warm voice on the phone. But one tragic night in that Houston hospital, Lily wasn't just a nurse. She became the only person standing between a newborn boy and the unthinkable. She became the last warm voice Alyssa, Liam's wife, heard before her life slipped away. She became the one who steadied Liam when his world collapsed right in front of him. She stepped into his grief not because she had to, but because compassion was woven into her spirit, and compassion has a way of opening doors we never meant to walk through. What started as comfort turned into connection, and that connection drew a line between reality and emotion that neither Lily nor Liam knew how to handle. She never chased him. He never planned to need her. But grief pulled them together, family pressure tore them apart, and faith placed them right back in front of each other. So when Liam locked eyes with Lily's pregnant belly, he wasn't seeing trouble. He was seeing the truth about a love he tried to deny. And Lily, she wasn't just standing in that hallway as a nurse anymore. She was standing there as the woman who had been pulled into a family war she never asked for, judged by his world, criticized by hers, and caught between loyalty, faith, and a love that refused to disappear. This wasn't just a reunion. This was a collision of everything she tried to walk away from. So, family, let me ask you something real. Not as a storyteller, but as someone who knows life isn't always a straight line. What would you do if the person you once saved became the same person who saved you right back? What would you do if a single night of compassion turned into a connection you couldn't forget? What would you do if the man who held onto your hand during a tragedy looked at you months later like you were the only remaining piece of hope he had left? Lily didn't come to that hospital looking for love. She didn't come seeking a bond, a future, or a child that would tie her to a man from a world so different from her own. She came to help. She came to serve. She came because faith led her there. But love slipped in quietly. Love built a bridge she didn't know she was crossing. Love carried her into a moment she could no longer run from. Now Liam stood there, eyes wide, breath caught, heart open in a way she had never seen before. He wasn't the broken man she first met on that stormy night. He was a man finally facing the truth he had buried under fear, pressure, and family expectations. Lily could feel every unspoken word in the air between them, every apology, every memory. Every moment they shared in quiet hospital hallways when no one was watching. So, bestie, what would you do if the past you tried to bury showed up carrying your future? Because that is exactly the choice Lily and Liam were about to face. And nothing in their lives would ever be the same after this. Before that hallway moment, before Fiona's stunned silence, before Liam whispered Lily's name like it carried the weight of both his past and future. Two life-changing moments shaped everything. Two turning points that tied Lily and Liam long before either of them admitted it. The hospital alarms rang louder than the storm outside. Alyssa's heartbeat faltered. Doctors rushed around her. Her grip on Liam's hand weakened. And Lily, calm, focused, steady, stepped into the chaos. She pressed a warm hand on Alyssa's shoulder. She whispered a prayer under her breath. She works tirelessly with the medical team to save both mother and child. But sometimes, heaven has the final say. Alyssa's last breath left a chill in the room as she whispered her final plea to Liam. Take care of our baby. Liam broke. He fell against the wall, trembling. He cried from a place beyond pain, a place only grief can reach. He begged God for answers. He begged for strength. He begged for anything to keep him from falling apart. And Lily, a stranger to his world but not to compassion, wrapped his newborn son in warm blankets and placed her hand on Liam's shoulder. I'm here, she whispered. Your son is not alone, and neither are you. That was the first moment Liam looked at her like she was holding his entire world together. That night didn't just take Alyssa from him. It tied Lily to him in a way neither of them understood yet. Months later, life pointed them back to each other. Lily thought distance would protect her heart. Liam thought silence would bury his feelings. Both were wrong. Because the moment Liam saw her again, her hand resting on her rounded belly, her eyes holding the same quiet strength he fell for, her breath trembling as she whispered, Liam, Everything he had tried to bury rose to the surface. His fiancée Fiona saw it too. The truth was standing right in front of her, undeniable and alive. Liam stepped forward, voice breaking. "Lily, is that our baby?" His question wasn't anger. It wasn't accusation. It was hope. Hope he thought he had no right to feel. Hope he thought had died the night he lost his wife. And Lily's tears told him everything. That moment, that hallway, wasn't just a reunion. It was the beginning of a future they never expected, but could no longer outrun. Houston storms have a way of shaking the windows like someone knocking from heaven, reminding everyone inside to stay alert. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the busy halls of St. Mercy Hospital. Nurses moved with careful precision, doctors checked charts, and machines hummed their midnight chorus. Lily Price, steady and focused, tightened her ponytail and took a deep breath as she scanned the monitors in the obstetrics wing. She always prayed before the hardest hours arrived. Something about nights like this made her spirit attentive. Storms often brought emergencies, and emergencies demanded strength. "Lord, guide my hands tonight," she whispered as she adjusted a newborn's blanket. Before she could step into the hallway, the double emergency doors slammed open. Paramedics wheeled in a young woman, pale, breathless, barely conscious. Alyssa Wentworth, 28, high-risk pregnancy, collapsing at home, severe pain, possible internal bleeding. One paramedic shouted. Behind the stretcher rushed Liam Wentworth, drenched in rain, hoodie clinging to his frame, his hands shaking uncontrollably. Baby, stay with me. Please," he begged, voice breaking as he clutched Alyssa's limp hand. Lily stepped forward immediately. "Let's get her into delivery room 3. Oxygen mask, vitals, full fetal monitoring, now." Liam's red, panicked eyes snapped to Lily. "Can you help her? Please tell me you can help her." Lily placed a gentle hand on his arm. "We're with her. But you need to breathe. She needs you steady." Thunder shook the building. Alyssa moaned weakly. "Liam," she whispered. "I'm here, baby. I'm right here," he choked out as they rolled her into the bright delivery room. The storm outside was nothing compared to the storm now unfolding inside. The delivery room felt squeezed between time and fear. The fetal monitor beeped erratically. Alyssa's breaths grew shallow. Sweat covered her forehead. Blood pressure dropping fast. A nurse shouted, "We're losing both mother and baby if we don't act now," Lily said firmly. Alyssa's eyes fluttered open. She looked at Lily with fragile clarity, then turned weakly toward Liam. "Liam, our baby," she whispered, voice barely holding on. "We're going to meet our child tonight. I promise," Liam said, kissing her hand. Alyssa shook her head faintly. She knew something no one else had accepted yet. Her hand tightened weakly around his fingers. "Take care of our baby," she whispered, breath trembling. "Promise me." "I will. I swear I will." "But you're staying with me," Liam sobbed. Lily worked quickly. "Prep for emergency delivery." But Alyssa's chest rose and fell. Slowly, too slowly. The machine gave a long, piercing note. "No," Liam whispered, shaking his head. No. Stay with me." Alyssa's hand slid from his grip. Lily moved in immediately, starting compressions. But something in the room shifted, a stillness that even CPR couldn't break. A doctor rushed in, took one look at the monitors, the readings, the timing, and placed a hand on Lily's shoulder. "Call it," he said softly. "No." Liam cried, falling to his knees beside the bed. Alyssa was gone. But the infant's heartbeat, faint but present, flickered through the speakers. And Lily refused to let that small life slip away too. "Baby's in distress. We need immediate extraction," Lily commanded, snapping the room back into motion. Her hands moved carefully but quickly. Clamp, suction, blanket, monitor, now. The medical team followed every direction she gave. Seconds stretched like hours. Sweat dripped down her temple, but her hands stayed steady. A sharp cry pierced the room. The baby, tiny, fragile, fighting, entered the world. Lily quickly wrapped him in warm blankets. "He's here," she breathed, relief washing through her. "We got him." But Liam didn't move. He sat on the floor, face buried in his hands, shaking violently. "My wife, she's gone. She's gone," he whispered through broken sobs. Lily knelt beside him, gently placing the newborn into his trembling arms. "Your son made it," she said softly. "He's fighting. He needs you." Liam looked into the small face, tiny nose, closed eyes, faint cries, and broke all over again. Lily didn't rush him. She didn't speak empty comfort. She simply stayed beside him, her presence steady in a room that felt shattered. A nurse approached softly. "We need to move the baby to the neonatal unit." Liam clung to his son. "No, don't take him yet. Please, please stay. Lily, can you stay?" His voice trembled like someone trying to grip the edge of a cliff. Lily nodded gently. "I'll go with him. He won't be alone." "Please don't leave him," Liam whispered. "I can't lose both of them tonight." Lily placed a hand over his. "I'm here," she said softly. "Let's walk together." As they reached the neonatal unit, Liam's knees buckled again. His grief was too heavy. Can we pray?" he asked suddenly, voice small. Lily didn't hesitate. She placed one hand on the newborn's incubator and the other on Liam's shoulder. "Father, this man has lost so much," she prayed quietly. "But you have given him a life to hold on to. Give him strength, give him comfort, help him stand through the pain." Liam's tears fell harder, but his breathing steadied. For the first time that night, the storm felt like it had a purpose. Hours passed. Machines beeped steadily. Nurses moved quietly around them. The storm outside softened, but inside the neonatal room, emotions still swirled like strong winds. Liam sat in a small chair beside the incubator, staring at his tiny son. He hadn't spoken for a long while. He hadn't moved. He looked hollow. A man whose life had been split in two in a single night. Lily approached gently. "Liam," she said softly. He lifted his red, tired eyes. And finally, he broke. Not the violent breakdown from before, but the quiet kind. The kind that slips out when the adrenaline fades and reality settles in. "My wife died," he said quietly. "She wanted this baby so badly, and now she'll never hold him." Lily's heart ached. She sat beside him, close enough for him to feel safe, far enough to respect his grief. "You're not alone tonight," she said. "Your son is here, and I'm here." Liam closed his eyes, letting those words settle inside him. He didn't know it yet. But this was the first moment Lily became the anchor he would cling to through the darkest season of his life. And neither of them would ever be the same after this night. The sun rose quietly over Houston the next morning, casting a soft glow across the hospital parking lot. Inside the neonatal unit, the world moved more slowly. Machines beeped in gentle rhythms, nurses whispered updates, and parents clung to hope in every corner. Liam sat half asleep in a stiff chair beside his newborn son's incubator. His hoodie was wrinkled, his hair uncombed, his eyes hollow from crying. Grief clung to him like a second skin. Baby Jack, tiny, fragile, wrapped in warmth, let out a faint whimper. Liam panicked immediately. "Is he okay? Lily, please." Lily was already there, stepping beside the incubator before he finished his sentence. "He's okay," she reassured, her voice gentle but solid. "He's hungry. Let me help." Her calm soothed him quicker than the machines ever could. She adjusted Jack's position, checked his breathing, and smiled faintly when his fists curled around the edge of the blanket. "You see that?" she murmured. "He's fighting." Liam exhaled a breath he'd been holding for hours. Lily wasn't simply a nurse at that moment. She was the person who knew how to bring order to the chaos inside him. Throughout the morning, she moved around Jack with warmth and skill, teaching Liam how to touch him gently, how to speak to him softly, how to breathe without fear. "Talk to him," Lily encouraged. "He knows your voice." Liam leaned closer, voice trembling but sincere. "Hey, little man. Daddy's here." Jack shifted, as if responding. Lily smiled. "He hears you." Liam's eyes filled again. Not with panic this time, but with something closer to steadying hope. By afternoon, other nurses had rotated in and out, but Liam always asked one question. "Is Lily on shift? Is she coming back?" And when she returned after a short break, He whispered the words he didn't even realize mattered so much. Thank God you're here. Without trying, without even knowing it, Lily had become the anchor he held onto, the one constant in a day that had taken everything else from him. Later that night, after the unit grew quiet, and Jack slept peacefully inside his incubator, Liam sat across from Lily in the small parents' lounge. A half-finished cup of coffee sat untouched beside him. He stared at his hands for a long time before speaking. My wife, Alyssa. She was everything good in my life. Lily didn't interrupt. She simply listened, really listened, her posture open, her eyes steady. Liam continued slowly. We met in college. She made me forget about the world my family came from, the pressure, the expectations, all the noise. With her, I could breathe. He swallowed hard. I promised her I'd protect her. I promised I'd be enough. And last night, I wasn't. Lily leaned forward gently. Liam, you did everything you. He shook his head. She told me she didn't feel well earlier that day. I should have taken her straight to the hospital. I kept thinking she was tired or stressed. I kept brushing it off. His voice cracked. What kind of husband ignores the signs? I failed her. The pain in his eyes was raw. Lily placed a careful hand over his. You didn't fail her. Sometimes things happen that no one could control. Liam looked up, tears shining. You ever love someone so much you feel like you owe them more than you have? Lily nodded slowly. Yes, she whispered. I know that feeling well. He took a shaky breath. And now I'm sitting here with a son who needs me. And I don't know if I'm enough for him either. You are, Lily said firmly. And you don't have to be perfect, you just have to show up, and you're doing that. Liam let out a tired exhale. For the first time in hours, something in him softened. Talking to her didn't feel like weakness. It felt like breathing. There was a quiet pause. Then Lily spoke softly, almost as if opening a door she rarely touched. I lost someone too, she said. Liam looked at her, surprised. My younger brother, she continued. He passed when he was 17. Liam's expression shifted. He recognized the look in her eyes. The look of someone who had known grief long before they were ready. What happened? Liam asked gently. Car accident, Lily whispered. We were close, like twins who weren't born together. He was loud and playful and always cracking jokes, and then suddenly he was gone. Just gone. She blinked, steady but honest. I felt guilty for years. Maybe if I'd called him sooner that night, maybe if he'd taken a different road. I blamed myself for things I couldn't control. Liam nodded slowly, deeply. That's exactly how I feel right now. That's why I understand you, Lily said. Grief makes you rewrite every moment. But faith helps you stop rewriting and start healing. Her voice softened. You loved Alyssa. You didn't abandon her. You were right there with her. Love doesn't disappear because life is unfair. Liam looked at her with gratitude he couldn't put into words. For the first time since the stormy night began, he realized that Lily didn't just understand his pain. She had lived her own version of it. And their losses, different but equally heavy, quietly bridged the space between them. In the days that followed, something began shifting between them. It wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't intentional. It was subtle. Liam's shoulders lowered whenever Lily walked into the room. Lily's voice softened a little more when she spoke to him. He started watching the clock, counting down until she returned from breaks. She found herself lingering near Jack's station, even when her shift was nearly over. One afternoon, Lily adjusted Jack's blanket, while Liam stood across from her, watching her every movement with quiet admiration. You're good at this, he murmured. She smiled shyly. I've had a lot of practice. No, I mean, caring, he clarified. You care in a way people don't anymore. The compliment caught her off guard, warming her cheeks. Another moment came late one evening when the lights were dim, and Jack slept peacefully. Liam spoke softly. You make this room feel less heavy. Lily looked at him. Really looked. Maybe we're both trying to breathe again, she said. He held her gaze longer than necessary. Something unspoken passed between them. Something gentle but undeniable. Not love. Not yet. But the quiet beginning of something that neither of them had planned. By the end of the week, the neonatal staff started whispering something harmless. He's doing better when Lily's around. It was true. Jack reacted to Lily's presence, his heartbeat steadier, his breathing calmer. But so did Liam. Every morning he arrived early, scanning the hallway for her scrubs. Every evening he stalled leaving, hoping she'd walk by one more time. He checked the shift schedule when he thought she wasn't looking. He asked nurses harmless questions like, "Is Lily on tomorrow? Did she already leave? Does she come back tonight?" He didn't admit to himself why he cared. Not yet. He only knew one thing. When Lily wasn't there, the hospital felt twice as cold. When she was there, he felt like he wasn't navigating grief alone. She didn't do anything dramatic. She didn't try to comfort him more than necessary. She didn't cross any lines. But her presence was enough. And Liam, without saying it, without even fully recognizing it, began needing the very person he never expected to lean on. A bond had been born from grief. And neither of them realized how powerful that bond would become. On Sunday morning, while the city was still quiet and the sky carried soft light, Lily stepped into New Hope Baptist Church with her grandmother, Matilda, holding her hand. Gospel music hummed through the sanctuary, the choir warming up, voices rich and full. The warm scent of shea butter, pressed suits, braided hairstyles and community hugs filled the air. Children ran toward the children's ministry room. Elders clapped rhythmically as the choir rehearsed. Mothers fixed hats in the foyer, while fathers shared quick greetings. This was Lily's world, faith, family, and familiar faces who prayed with her, cried with her, and celebrated with her. Grandma Matilda squeezed her hand gently. "Baby, you've had long nights at that hospital. I'm glad you're here today." Lily smiled softly. "I needed this. I needed him." They sat together, and as the choir lifted their voices, Lily closed her eyes. Images from the past week filled her mind. Liam's broken stare. Baby Jack's tiny fingers. Moments when she stood in the gap between life and loss. Tears slipped quietly down her face, not from sadness alone, but from the growing weight of her connection to that fragile family. After service, her community gathered around her. "Lily, how's work? You look tired, baby. You eating well? I'm praying for strength over you." She appreciated every word. Meanwhile, miles across Houston, Liam's world looked drastically different. He sat in his parents' immaculate dining room, marble floors, tall ceilings, art pieces worth more than most homes. His father, William Wentworth, examined him with a stern expression. "How long will you keep staying at that hospital?" William asked. "As long as Jack needs me," Liam replied. His mother reached across the table. "We'll hire private nurses. You shouldn't be sleeping in a chair." But Liam shook his head. "I'm not leaving him." Their world was polished, powerful, privileged. Lily's world was warm, faithful, grounded. And somehow, both worlds were now connected through a tiny heartbeat in an incubator. And a bond forming between two people who should have never crossed paths. Later that afternoon, Lily stepped outside her grandmother's house to take a phone call. She recognized the number immediately, Marquise. She hesitated, then answered. "Hello? So now you don't return calls?" He snapped. "Marquise, I've been working non-stop. This isn't a good—" "I heard you've been spending nights with some rich man's baby," he said sharply. Lily's stomach tightened. "Marquise, I'm doing my job." He scoffed. "Right. You doing your job sure has you looking real comfortable around him." "Stop," Lily said firmly. "This isn't your business anymore. You think he cares about you?" Marquise pushed. "You think you matter in his world. You're just convenient right now." Lily clenched her jaw. "Goodbye, Marquise." But before she hung up, his voice darkened with jealousy. Not aggressive, just insecure and bitter. "You'll regret catching feelings for a man who'll leave you behind the moment his family snaps their fingers." Lily ended the call. Her hands shook. She leaned against the porch railing, breathing slowly. Marquise's words weren't true. Yet they echoed in her mind. Do I matter in Liam's world? Or am I just helping him survive his grief? She didn't know the answer. Not yet. Liam returned to the hospital that evening. A soft glow lit the neonatal unit, and baby Jack's breathing was steady. Lily was adjusting his blanket. Liam whispered, "He looks better today." He's stronger, Lily said, smiling warmly. He knows you're here. Liam opened his mouth to respond, but his father suddenly entered the unit, stern expression in place. William pulled Liam aside. You missed an important meeting today, he said quietly but firmly. My son is in the NICU, Liam replied. I'm where I need to be. And who's been with you all these hours? William demanded, glancing at Lily. Her? Liam tensed. Lily has been helping me. William's voice lowered to a cold whisper. Liam, she is a nurse, a hospital employee. She does not belong in our affairs. You need someone appropriate when you rebuild your life, not this. Lily's heart dropped at his tone. She pretended not to hear, but the words sliced deep. Liam's jaw tightened. Dad. Stop. William shook his head. Your wife just died, and you're attaching yourself to someone far beneath our family's standing. Liam stepped closer. Don't talk about her like that. But William wasn't finished. You're emotional, vulnerable. That woman is convenient right now, but she is not for you, Liam. Lily kept her back turned, pretending to study Jack's monitor as tears gathered in her eyes. She never asked to be in Liam's world. She never wanted to be judged for simply caring. Over the next few days, Lily noticed a shift. 2 nurses whispered near the supply closet, glancing at her. A doctor paused when Liam held Lily's arm lightly while asking a question. A clerk in the hallway smirked. She's getting real close to him, huh? The rumors traveled fast. Faster than her good intentions. One evening, Nurse Carrie approached her in the break room. You okay, Lily? People are talking. I know, Lily whispered. I hear them. Carrie sighed. They shouldn't. You've been doing your job. Lily looked down. Sometimes doing your job isn't enough. She felt the weight of every whisper, every side eye, every judgment. Some people thought she was taking advantage of a widower. Others accused her of getting too involved. Some even suggested she wanted attention or money. Lily shut the locker door quietly, fighting back tears. She had worked her entire life to care deeply without crossing boundaries. Now, people treated her compassion like something dirty. But what hurt most wasn't the rumors. It was the fear that those rumors might push her away from the one place she felt needed. The one person who made her feel seen. That night, after the last nurse left the unit, Liam found Lily standing alone by the window, arms crossed, eyes distant. Lily? He said softly. She wiped her cheek quickly. Hey. Sorry, long day. He stepped closer. Did something happen? She hesitated. He waited. Finally, she whispered. People think I'm crossing lines, that I'm too involved, that I'm using you. Liam's expression darkened. That's not true. But they don't know that, Lily replied. And your father? My father is wrong, Liam said firmly. He doesn't know you. Lily looked up at him, eyes tired. Maybe he doesn't need to. Maybe I should step back. No. His voice was stronger than he expected. He moved closer. You've been the only person keeping me standing. You've been the reason Jack is okay. You've been the one I trust. She swallowed slowly. And what about everyone watching? Liam's voice faltered. He wanted to defend her publicly. He wanted to shield her from judgment. He wanted to tell everyone exactly what she meant to him. But he couldn't. Not yet. Not with his father's pressure, the business world expecting strength, and his grief still raw. I'm trying, he admitted quietly. Trying to figure out how to protect all of us. Lily nodded slowly, tears finally spilling. I just don't want to be the reason you lose anything. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. You haven't cost me anything, he whispered. You're the only thing giving me hope. For a moment, their eyes held each other with an intensity neither of them dared name. 2 worlds. 2 different lives. But one heartbeat pulling them closer than either of them planned. The days following the rumors were harder on Lily than she let anyone see. She moved through the neonatal unit with her usual professionalism, but her smile didn't reach her eyes the way it used to. She avoided lingering near Liam, avoided long conversations, avoided anything that felt like closeness. She still cared for baby Jack with gentle devotion, but the way she stepped back from Liam, he felt it instantly. Where Lily once stood beside him during feedings, she now kept a respectable distance. Where she once offered quiet reassurance, she now kept her responses short. Where their fingertips used to accidentally brush, she now held her hands close to her body. Liam noticed every shift. He watched from across the room as she busied herself with tasks she didn't need to do. He saw the way she deliberately focused on charts instead of him. He recognized the careful boundary she was building. The unit felt colder without her warmth. One evening, after a long silence between them, Liam softly called her name. Lily. She paused but didn't meet his eyes. Yes? You're avoiding me. She swallowed. I'm not. I'm just keeping things professional. You've always been professional, he said gently. That's not what this is. Silence stood between them like a wall neither wanted to acknowledge. Finally, Lily whispered, People are talking. Your father disapproves. I don't want to make things harder for you. You're not, he said. But she shook her head as she backed away. Liam, I need space. Her voice trembled, even though she tried to keep it steady. And for the first time since Alyssa's passing, Liam felt something new. Fear of losing the one person who made the loneliness bearable. That night, after Lily left her shift early, Liam sat alone beside Jack's incubator. His son slept peacefully, unaware of the emotional storms swirling around the adults who loved him. Liam looked at his tiny hand pressed against the glass and whispered, I wish your mother could see you. His voice cracked. I wish I knew what I was doing. I wish I could make things right with Lily. I wish I wasn't so lost. A nurse suggested he go home and rest, but he shook his head. Instead, he wandered down the hallway until he reached the small chapel, the one where he and Lily had prayed together after Jack's birth. The room was dim. The stained glass windows cast soft colors onto the carpet. Candles flickered in quiet reverence. Liam sat in the last pew and finally let himself break. He leaned forward, elbows on his knees, hands pressed against his face. God, I don't know what I'm doing, he whispered. I'm trying to be strong, but I feel like I'm failing everyone. Alyssa, Jack, Lily. His voice softened. I didn't expect to care for her. I didn't expect any of this. I'm scared to admit what she means to me, but I'm more scared of pushing her away. He wasn't the polished billionaire anymore. He wasn't the strong widower trying to carry the world on his shoulders. He was just a man, broken, grieving, and longing for something pure to hold on to. And that purity was Lily. 2 nights later, Lily ended her shift late. She walked down the quiet hallway toward the chapel, seeking peace, when she noticed the door slightly ajar. Inside, Liam sat alone again, head bowed. She hesitated. But something pulled her forward. Liam? She whispered softly. He looked up quickly, eyes red, face tired, heart open in a way that made Lily stop breathing. You're here, he said, relief flooding his expression. I needed a moment, Lily replied. So did I, he admitted quietly. They stood facing one another in the soft glow from the stained glass. I didn't mean to worry you, Lily whispered. I just didn't want to make things harder. You leaving made everything harder, Liam said gently. I can lose a lot, Lily. I've already lost so much. But losing your presence. He paused, his voice tight with emotion. That would break me. Lily blinked back tears. Liam. He took a small step closer. I know this isn't simple. I know this isn't the right time. I know you deserve someone who isn't drowning in grief. Liam, don't. He shook his head. But even with everything happening, I can't pretend anymore. Her breath caught. I think I'm falling in love with you. The words left his mouth like a confession and a release. They filled the room, warm and trembling, and Lily felt them settle deep into her chest. She closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, they were glistening. Liam. You can't say things like that when your heart is hurting, she whispered. It's not hurt speaking, he replied. It's truth. Her lips parted, but no words came. Her heart raced. Her world shifted. In that silent exchange, something sacred awakened between them. Something neither had been ready to name until now. The chapel was silent except for their breaths. Lily stepped back, overwhelmed. Liam stepped forward, afraid of losing her again. Lily. Look at me, he whispered. She lifted her eyes slowly, And every moment they had survived together, every prayer, every tear, every late-night vigil, every shared breath over baby Jack's incubator, settled between them like a living thing. Liam gently reached out, giving her room to pull away. She didn't. Their hands touched first, warm, hesitant, trembling. Then he cupped her cheek, thumb brushing away a tear she didn't realize had fallen. "Tell me to stop," he whispered. She didn't. Instead, she leaned in, small, barely noticeable, but enough. Their lips met softly, tender, searching, healing, not rushed, not reckless, not born from loneliness, born from connection, from gratitude, from two broken hearts finding something steady in each other. When they pulled apart, Lily's breath shook. "Liam, we shouldn't rush anything." "I'm not rushing," he whispered. "I'm choosing," and her heart trembled, because deep inside, she knew she was choosing too. Later that night, after their kiss left both of them breathless and shaken. In the best way, Lily walked him back to the neonatal unit to check on Jack. They stood beside the incubator, watching the baby sleep. "He's perfect," Lily whispered. "He's alive because of you," Liam said, turning to her. She looked away bashfully. "God did that. I just followed his lead." Liam touched her hand softly. "And tonight, you followed your heart." Lily blushed, the moment tender and innocent. He stepped closer, lowering his voice as if he were afraid to disturb the peace around them. "Lily, can you come with me? Just to talk. I don't want this moment to end." They both knew he wasn't asking for anything physical. He was asking not to be alone. He was asking for connection, for comfort, for warmth that wasn't rooted in grief, but in real affection. She hesitated only for a breath, then nodded. "Okay." They walked to the quiet family room. Dim lights, a comfortable couch, soft blankets. Lily sat first. Liam sat beside her, leaving a respectful distance. But somehow, that distance closed naturally. He rested his forehead against hers. She placed a hand on his chest, feeling his heartbeat, strong, alive, grateful. They talked for hours, about hope, about loss, about their fears, about their faith, about the confusing tenderness growing between them. When he pulled her into his arms, she let herself sink into the embrace, not to cross boundaries, not to break her values, but to let him feel loved. In a moment where love was medicine, they held each other until early morning, breathing in quiet harmony, no rush, no pressure, no crossing lines. Just two souls touching softly in the middle of a hospital where life had begun and ended in the same night. It was emotional. It was sacred. It was gentle. It was theirs. And it was the moment that changed everything. The morning after their quiet night of holding each other, both Lily and Liam arrived at the hospital knowing they shouldn't repeat that closeness. They had crossed into emotional territory that neither of them knew how to handle, not with grief still raw, not with the world watching, not with gossip already spreading. So, they made an unspoken agreement. Keep distance. Keep things simple. Act normal. But distance was harder than either expected. Lily tried to avoid being alone with him, but she still felt a tug whenever he entered the room. Liam tried focusing solely on Jack, but his eyes always drifted to wherever Lily stood. Their interactions became short, polite, and painfully restrained. "Good morning, Lily." "Morning, Liam. How's Jack's breathing today?" "Steady. Thanks to you." Their words were formal. Their hearts were not. Every shared glance felt heavier. Every polite smile carried memories of whispered prayers, a quiet kiss, and the warmth of holding each other through the night. The tension simmered, not avoidance, but longing kept on a leash. And no matter how much distance they tried to create, their feelings kept growing. Despite the careful distance, the world had a way of pulling them together. One night, Jack's oxygen levels dropped unexpectedly. Liam rushed into the NICU in a panic. "Lily," he called, and she was already there, adjusting the machine, checking Jack's vitals, speaking to him in that soothing voice that felt like medicine. "It's okay, sweetheart. Breathe with me. I'm right here." Liam watched her hands move with skill and grace. Within minutes, Jack stabilized. Lily exhaled a shaky sigh of relief. Liam did too, but for more than one reason. When their eyes met, something in both of them softened again. Later, outside Jack's room, Liam whispered, "Can we pray? Like before?" She hesitated only for a moment, then nodded. They stepped into the quiet hallway. Liam took her hand gently, careful, respectful, but grateful. Lily bowed her head. "Lord," she whispered, "thank you for watching over Jack. Give us wisdom, give us peace, and give us strength to do right by him." Liam added softly, "And please, guide our hearts." When they said amen, they didn't let go right away. These moments became their secret refuge. Quick prayers when the unit was dark and calm. Soft glances that said everything they couldn't say out loud. Quiet conversations about baby Jack's progress. A shared smile when Jack's monitor showed stable readings. They weren't dating. They weren't together. But they weren't strangers either. Their hearts had found a hiding place in each other. Even if no one else could know. While Liam's connection with Lily deepened quietly, his family moved with a different agenda. One evening, Liam returned to his parents' estate after being summoned for a family meeting. His father didn't waste time. "Liam, the board is growing concerned," William said. "Your wife passed months ago, yet you're still living in the hospital. It's time to rebuild your public image." Liam clenched his jaw. "My son needs me. And he has nurses for that," his father pressed. "This family needs stability. And you need someone appropriate." Liam frowned. "What does that mean?" His mother stepped forward gently. "Fiona came by to offer condolences. She's always admired you. You two had a friendship long before Alyssa." Liam stiffened. "I'm not interested," his father continued as if he didn't hear him. "She comes from a respected family. She has the right public presence. She can support your return to the company." Liam shook his head. "I'm not dating anyone." "You will," William said firmly. "And Fiona is the obvious choice." Liam stood up quickly. "This conversation is over." But Fiona stepped out from behind the doorway. Soft smile, perfect posture, eyes full of expectation. "Liam," she said sweetly, "we should talk soon." He didn't respond. He walked out, heart pounding, angry that his family wanted to decide his future again, especially when his heart already belonged somewhere else, to someone they would never approve of. The pressure got worse. Rumors turned into side comments. Side comments turned into complaints. And complaints turned into a meeting with the hospital director. Lily sat across from him, hands folded, gentle but firm. "We've received concerns about you being emotionally involved with a patient's father," he said carefully. "I've done nothing inappropriate," Lily replied. "I believe you," he said kindly. "But perception matters. And it's affecting the unit." Her heart sank. "So, what happens now?" she whispered. "There's an opening at the Dallas branch," he said. "Higher pay, flexible schedule, fresh start." Lily blinked. Dallas. Another city. Another life. Part of her wanted to stay. Part of her wanted to run. All of her was hurting. After the meeting, Lily stepped into the stairwell and cried quietly, alone, heart breaking at the thought of leaving baby Jack, leaving the unit she loved, and leaving Liam. That evening, she walked into the NICU with her badge tucked inside her scrub pocket instead of clipped to her chest. Liam noticed instantly. "Lily? What's wrong?" Her voice cracked. "I'm being transferred." Liam froze. "Transferred? No, you can't. You didn't do anything wrong." "It doesn't matter," she whispered. "Perception matters." He shook his head, stunned. "When?" "I leave at the end of the week." Those words shattered something inside him. He reached for her hand instinctively, but she stepped back, tears filling her eyes. "I have to go," she said quietly. "For my peace, and yours." But the truth was, she was leaving because staying hurt even more. The week slipped away faster than either expected. Liam tried to find moments with Lily, small chances to talk, to understand, to fix things. But she avoided one-on-one interactions, afraid of making their goodbye harder. His family demanded he focus on Fiona. The hospital watched his every move. And he had a fragile newborn to raise. He couldn't chase Lily publicly. He couldn't fight for her without risking her job. He couldn't confess the depth of what he felt. Not yet. On Lily's last night, she stood alone beside Jack's incubator, brushing her fingers gently along his tiny hand. "Grow up strong, little one," she whispered. "You have a good father, a good heart, and you deserve a beautiful life." She kissed her fingertips and touched the glass softly. Behind her, Liam stopped in the doorway, breath catching in his chest. "Lily," he whispered. She wiped her tears quickly and turned with a brave smile. "I'm going to miss him," she said. "And me?" he asked, voice breaking. Her lips trembled. "I already miss you." He stepped closer, but she kept a respectful distance. "Liam, this world of yours, your family, their expectations, I can't fit into that. And you deserve peace, not more tension." "You are peace," he said. She smiled sadly. "Not in their eyes." He wanted to pull her close. He wanted to tell her not to go. He wanted to fight. But instead, he whispered the only thing he could say without destroying her career. "Please don't forget me." Tears slid down her cheeks. "Impossible." She walked out slowly, fighting every urge to turn back. Liam stood frozen, feeling the door close behind her like the world shutting out light. For the second time in his life, he watched a woman he loved walk away. But this time, she wasn't leaving because she wanted to. She left because loving him in the shadows had become too painful. And he was left behind, with a newborn son in his arms, and a heart that felt emptier than ever. Dallas smelled different, less familiar, less comforting, more like a place where she had to rebuild everything from scratch. Lily rented a small apartment not far from the new hospital branch. It was clean, quiet, and lonely. She decorated it slowly, adding pieces that reminded her of home: a framed scripture, her grandmother's knitted blanket, and a tiny plant named Hope. Her first week at the new hospital was all business. No rumors, no stares, no whispers, just patience, charts, and the echo of silence that followed her home each night. But after the second week, the exhaustion hit hard. She assumed it was the move, the stress, the sadness of leaving Jack, the ache of missing Liam in quiet, secret ways she dared not say out loud. But when she fainted in the break room one morning, a doctor insisted on running tests. An hour later, she sat on the edge of an exam bed as a soft-spoken physician entered the room with a gentle smile. "Lily, congratulations. You're pregnant." The world stilled. Her breath froze, her heartbeat echoing in her ears. Pregnant. Her hands trembled as they drifted to her stomach. She didn't need to ask whose child. The memories came flooding in. Their quiet night, the tenderness, the connection that felt deeper than anything she had ever known. A single tear rolled down her cheek. A new life, a new beginning, a new fear. She whispered into the quiet room, "Lord, what do I do now?" Lily walked home in a daze, one hand over her stomach, the other wiping silent tears. The Dallas sunset painted the sky, but she barely saw it. Inside her apartment, she sank onto the couch, curling her knees to her chest. "This wasn't supposed to happen now," she whispered. Her emotions collided painfully. Faith. God had not abandoned her. He had given her a blessing. A tiny heartbeat forming inside her. A reminder that love, even unexpected, created life. Fear. How could she raise a child alone? How would she afford it? How could she shield the baby from Liam's influential family, who would see her as a threat before they saw her as a person? Guilt. Had she betrayed Alyssa's memory by letting herself care for Liam? Would people say she trapped him? Would he think she left just to hide this? Hope, a baby, a piece of him. A piece of the man she loved quietly, painfully, deeply. The conflict wore her down. She spent nights curled up under her grandmother's blanket, whispering prayers into the dim light of the lamp. "Lord, guide me. I don't want to do the wrong thing. I don't want to raise this child in shame or fear. Show me how to be strong." Sometimes she placed a hand over her belly and whispered softly, "You're not a mistake. I promise you that. Mommy just needs to be brave." But courage didn't come easily. Not when her heart mourned the man she left behind. Not when she knew he was hurting too. And yet, despite everything, something inside her glowed with fragile joy. A new life, meant new purpose, new strength, new beginnings, even with the hardest road ahead. While Lily learned to breathe again in a new city, Liam struggled to breathe at all. He threw himself into fatherhood and work, but nothing filled the quiet void Lily left behind. His family saw his vulnerability and pushed harder. Media outlets speculated about the grieving heir. Business partners whispered about stability. His father repeated one sentence until Liam felt it in his sleep: "Fiona is the right choice." And because Liam was exhausted, physically, mentally, emotionally, he stopped fighting so hard. He started taking Fiona to public events. He allowed her to accompany him to family dinners. He let her push Jack's stroller during charity functions, pretending it didn't feel wrong. Fiona was elegant, polite, socially perfect. But she wasn't warm. She wasn't gentle. She wasn't Lily. She tried to comfort him, placing hands on his arm, offering smiles, planning outings, but nothing reached deeper than the surface. One evening, after a formal dinner, Fiona pulled him aside. "Liam, your father thinks it's time." "Time for what?" "For us. For an engagement." Liam's breath caught. "I'm not ready for that." She leaned closer. "You don't have to love me. Just be with me." Her words stabbed him. He didn't want a marriage rooted in convenience or obligation. But the pressure mounted. In a quiet moment of defeat, when he felt cornered and lonely, he agreed to an arrangement he never wanted. The news spread quickly. Liam Wentworth and Fiona Hartwell, unofficially engaged. But after everyone congratulated him, after cameras flashed and champagne glasses clinked, he went home, sat beside Jack's crib, and whispered, "I wish she were here." And he didn't mean Fiona. Not even close. Lily attended her first prenatal appointment alone. She listened to the soft flutter of her baby's heartbeat, tears slipping down her cheeks at the sound. She should tell Liam. He deserved the truth. Her baby deserved to know their father. But with rumors still fresh, with his family's cruelty echoing in her memory, and with news of his engagement spreading online, she couldn't bear the thought of causing chaos. Or worse, being accused of trapping him, being labeled an opportunist, being forced into a life of tension and resentment. So she made the hardest choice. She stayed silent. After every appointment, she knelt beside her bed and whispered, "Lord, please protect this child. Give me wisdom, give me strength. Help me raise this baby with love, whether I'm alone or not." Her belly grew slowly. She bought baby clothes in secret. She prayed over each tiny onesie. She placed a small ultrasound picture beside her lamp. At night, when she couldn't sleep, she held the picture and whispered, "This is our journey now. And Mommy's going to make sure you know love from the very start." But even as she embraced the new life inside her, her heart still tugged toward Houston, toward Liam, toward a love she couldn't safely claim. Time moved differently for both of them. For Lily, days blended into weeks, weeks into months. Her belly rounded, her steps slowed, her heart softened with every tiny kick. But loneliness lingered. She avoided social media to shield herself from updates about Liam and Fiona. She avoided calling her grandmother too often, afraid she'd hear the truth in Lily's voice. She avoided imagining what life might have been if she hadn't left. The only person who never judged her was her unborn child, kicking softly as if reminding her she wasn't truly alone. For Liam, life became a performance. Public smiles, forced dinners, business obligations, a relationship with Fiona that lacked a heartbeat, and every night when he rocked Jack to sleep, he whispered the same question. Why did she leave me? He checked the NICU door sometimes, irrationally hoping she'd walk through it again. He looked for her face in every hallway. He reread her final transfer email more times than he admitted. He visited the chapel alone, asking God why fate had separated them. But fate wasn't done. It was only setting the stage. Months passed. Seasons changed. Their lives shifted in painful, quiet ways. But one truth remained. They loved each other still. In silence. In distance. In prayer. In longing. And the child growing inside Lily would soon bring their worlds crashing back together, in a way neither saw coming. Months after Lily left for Dallas, life kept moving even when Liam's heart didn't feel ready. Jack grew stronger. His lungs expanded like they were making up for their rough start. He smiled more, grabbed his father's fingers, and babbled at the ceiling like he was having full conversations with angels. But because of his early complications, Jack's pediatrician referred him to a specialist for a follow-up appointment at a larger advanced facility back in Houston, a sister hospital tied to the St. Mercy network. Best neonatal follow-up team in the state, the pediatrician said. You'll be in good hands there. Houston, the city where everything began, the city where Liam lost a wife and met the woman who helped him survive that loss. He tried not to think about Lily as he buckled Jack into the car seat and drove toward the hospital. Tried not to wonder if she'd ever walked these halls. Tried not to remember the warmth of her prayers and the softness of her eyes. But memories didn't ask permission. They came. When Liam stepped into the new medical campus, the place was busy but organized. Bright signs. Clean corridors. A large sign directed parents toward the Pediatric Cardio and Neonatal Follow-Up Center. He checked in at the desk. Name? The receptionist asked. Liam Wentworth. My son, Jack. Yes, Mr. Wentworth, she replied, clicking through the system. You're a little early. The doctor is running behind. You can wait in the hallway by exam room 4. Liam pushed Jack's stroller toward the designated area, his footsteps slow. He passed nurses in different colored scrubs. He passed doctors discussing charts. Every so often, his heart leaped at the sight of a woman with similar hair or build to Lily, only to fall back into his chest when he realized it wasn't her. He felt silly, but he couldn't help it. He had no idea she had requested a transfer back to Houston a month earlier. No idea she now worked here, in this very building, on another floor, closer to her grandmother, closer to her support system, and unknowingly, closer to him. Liam parked the stroller near the wall and crouched in front of Jack. Big day, buddy, he said softly. You're going to show them how strong you are. Jack made a small sound, waving his hands, blissfully unaware of the storm his presence was about to stir. Liam straightened, slipped his hands into his pockets, and leaned back against the wall. And fate quietly took its position. Lily had just finished checking on a mother recovering from surgery on the maternity floor. Her badge now bore the logo of the Houston system again, a reminder that life had come full circle in ways she hadn't expected. Her belly was fully rounded now, her pregnancy impossible to hide under her scrubs. Every step she took was careful but steady. Her baby girl, because she now knew she was expecting a daughter, kicked softly, as if always reminding her she wasn't alone. She glanced at the time. Her shift had ended, but one of her friends had just delivered a baby downstairs in another wing. Lily promised she would stop by for a quick visit before heading home. She stepped into the elevator, cradling a small gift bag with a tiny onesie folded inside. Her heart felt light and heavy at the same time. When the elevator doors opened on the pediatric floor, she stepped out, expecting nothing more than a short walk and a celebration. She did not expect him. Lily turned the corner into the main hallway and froze. Liam stood just a few yards away, leaning against the wall, looking older, more tired, more grounded. But undeniably him. The stroller beside him. Jack inside it. Her breath left her chest. She gripped the folder and gift bag in her hands so tightly the paper crinkled. No. It can't be. He glanced up casually, and the world narrowed. His eyes locked onto her. First to her face, then down to the unmistakable curve of her belly. The air between them shifted. Lily. He whispered, barely able to say her name. Her throat tightened. She hadn't prepared for this. In her quiet imagination, she thought she might tell him one day, with time, with care, with control. But life chose this hallway instead. She swallowed hard, forcing her feet to move, even though every step felt unreal. Hi, Liam, she managed, voice delicate. He took a step forward, stunned. You're here. You work here? She nodded slowly. I transferred back a month ago. I didn't know you had an appointment here today. His gaze dropped again to her belly. How far along are you? He asked, voice thick. Her hand drifted instinctively to rest over her stomach. Almost 7 months, she replied softly. He stared at her, pieces clicking into place faster than his heart could handle. Is that? He couldn't finish the sentence. But his eyes, shining, hopeful, terrified, asked the question anyway. Before Lily could respond, heels clicked lightly down the hallway, approaching them. "Liam? They just called us for the appointment," a familiar voice said. Lily's heart dropped. "Fiona." Fiona approached with a polished calm that contrasted sharply with the chaos inside Lily's chest. Her hair was styled, her clothes pressed, her presence deliberate, as if she knew eyes would be on her wherever she went. She smiled reflexively at Lily, the polite kind of smile you give a stranger. But then she noticed Liam's expression. His frozen posture, his wide eyes, the way he stood halfway between the stroller and Lily. Her smile faded. "Liam, everything okay?" Fiona asked, tone cautious. Liam didn't answer right away. He was still looking at Lily, his voice low when he finally spoke. "This is Lily," he said. "She helped deliver Jack. She was there the night he was born." Fiona nodded slowly. "Oh. From the old hospital?" Lily gave a small, respectful nod. "Nice to see you." Liam's father had kept his opinions about Lily loud and clear. Fiona had heard enough to know this was the nurse everyone whispered about, the one his father claimed had too much influence, the one who had gotten too close. But Fiona wasn't blind. She could see what no one had needed to tell her. The way Liam stared at Lily, the way his voice softened when he said her name, the intensity thickening the air as they stood facing each other. Her gaze dropped to Lily's belly. The tension grew heavy. Fiona blinked, doing the math in her head. Lily 7 months along. Liam's emotional shift months ago. The distance he always kept with her, even while doing all the right public things. "You're expecting," Fiona said calmly to Lily. "Yes," Lily replied. "Congratulations," Fiona whispered. There was no sarcasm, only the weight of realization. A nurse peeked into the hallway. "Mr. Wentworth, the doctor is ready for you." No one moved. Fiona watched Liam's face, watched his chest rise and fall as though he was standing at the edge of a cliff. "Liam," she said gently, "do you need a minute?" It was a simple question, but it split the moment in half. Because they all knew this wasn't just about a pregnancy. This was about the truth between them, and whether anyone was brave enough to let it surface. The hallway grew quiet. Lily could have lied. She could have said the baby belonged to someone else. She could have slipped away, sparing him scandal, sparing herself more judgment. But she had promised herself, and the child growing inside her, that she would walk in truth, even if it scared her. She met Liam's eyes, seeing the fear, the hope, the pain. "Yes," she said softly, answering the question he couldn't finish. His voice cracked. "Lily, is that?" She nodded, tears pooling. "I'm having your daughter." The words hung in the air like a bell that had finally been struck after months of silence. Liam staggered back a half step, overwhelmed. "A daughter," he repeated, voice barely audible. Lily's hand pressed over her belly, gently, lovingly. "I found out after I moved," she explained quietly. "I wanted to tell you, but with everything happening, your family, the rumors, the engagement." Her eyes flicked briefly to Fiona, then back to Liam. "I didn't want to cause more chaos," she whispered. "I didn't want anyone saying I was trying to trap you. I didn't want to be the reason you were torn apart from your world." Tears slipped down her cheeks. "But she's not a mistake, Liam. She's a blessing. And whether you ever chose to be in her life or not, I was going to raise her with love." Liam's chest rose and fell sharply. "You thought I wouldn't want her?" he asked, hurt cutting through him. "I thought you already had too much to carry," Lily replied. "I thought me and a baby would be one burden too many for a family that already thought I didn't belong." His eyes burned. "You and this baby are not a burden," he said, voice stronger now. "You are part of the only moments I've felt alive since Alyssa died." A tear rolled down his face. He didn't even wipe it. "I would have gone to Dallas. I would have fought for you. I would have stood in front of anyone who had something to say." She shook her head gently. "I didn't want you to choose between peace and me," she said. "So, I chose for you." Their pain stood between them, but so did their love, for Jack, for the child on the way, and for each other. Fiona watched the scene unfold quietly. And in that stillness, she realized something she'd been avoiding. She was not the woman at the center of Liam's heart. She never had been. For a long moment, no one spoke. The nurse at the end of the hallway glanced around, realized something sensitive was happening, and quietly stepped away to give them space. Fiona took a small, steady breath. Her life had been mapped out since childhood. Schools, friends, social circles, expectations. This engagement had always been described to her as natural, advantageous, perfect. But standing here, watching the way Liam looked at Lily, she knew perfect didn't live here. Love did. Liam, Fiona said softly. He turned, still overwhelmed. I think you should take whatever time you need, she said gently. With her. With your child. There was no bitterness in her voice. No spite, no attack. Only resignation. And a bit of unexpected grace. You don't have to do this, Liam said quietly, guilt flickering in his eyes. She smiled sadly. I think we both know I do. Fiona turned to Lily. I'm not your enemy, she said. People might make this messy, they might say a lot, but I can see the truth when it's right in front of me. Lily's throat tightened. I never meant to hurt you. I know, Fiona replied. You were just in his life when he needed someone, and now, you're carrying his future. Her gaze softened. Take care of him, she said. Both of them. With that, she stepped back, straightened her shoulders, and walked toward the front desk, her head held high. She might cry later. She might grieve the life she almost had. But she wouldn't stand in the way of something this real. Liam watched her go, gratitude and guilt mingling in his chest, but when he turned back to Lily, everything else faded. He stepped toward her slowly. Lily looked uncertain. Liam. He closed the last bit of space between them, eyes full. You kept my daughter safe, he said softly. You carried her alone. You carried this secret alone. You should have never had to. His voice broke. I'm here now, and I'm not walking away. A sob escaped her as months of isolation and fear spilled over. This might get messy, she said. Your father. My father had his chance to run my life, Liam interrupted gently. He already chose image over humanity more times than I can count. I won't repeat that. His gaze dropped to her belly, then back to her eyes. If you'll let me, I want to be there. For every appointment, every late-night craving, every kick. I want to talk to her, sing to her, pray over her. He swallowed hard. I want to love you both openly. No more shadows. Lily's tears didn't stop, but her lips trembled into something like a relieved smile. You really mean that? She whispered. He nodded, eyes glistening. I spent months pretending I could move on. I went to dinners, played the part, smiled for cameras. But every night when I held Jack, all I thought about was you. He reached out carefully and placed his hand over hers on her belly. A small movement fluttered beneath their palms. Lily gasped softly. She kicked, she whispered. Liam's eyes lit with awe. She knows I'm here. For the first time in a long time. He felt whole. He pulled Lily gently into his arms, mindful of her pregnancy, holding her with reverence rather than desperation. She rested her head against his chest, breathing in his familiar scent, the one she had tried so hard to forget. Everything hurt. Everything healed. All in the same moment. Fate had separated them. Faith had carried them. Now love was finally allowed to stand in the light. And in that hospital hallway, in front of the stroller holding his son, and the baby bump carrying his daughter, Liam silently promised, I won't let you walk this road alone ever again. 2 weeks after the hallway revelation, the world had begun shifting around Lily and Liam. They attended appointments together. He rubbed lotion on her ankles when they swelled. He brought her heat packs, ginger candies, and midnight cravings for peach cobbler. Jack babbled happily whenever he was near Lily's stomach, as if greeting his sister through the barrier between them. But peace never travels alone. One Friday afternoon, Lily and Liam stood outside the Houston clinic after an appointment. Lily leaned against Liam's chest, his arms wrapped carefully around her bump as they discussed baby names. A familiar voice cut through the air. So, this is the man you left me for. Lily froze. Liam straightened. Marquise stepped closer, jaw tight, eyes sharp, bitterness written all over him. He looked from Lily's rounded belly to Liam's protective posture. I can't believe you, Lily, Marquise said, shaking his head. All that time you said you weren't seeing anybody. All that time you acted like you were some innocent saint. And here you are, pregnant by him? Lily inhaled slowly. Marquise, don't do this. No, he snapped. You don't get to walk away from me like I was nothing. Liam stepped forward. Back up, he warned quietly. Marquise scoffed. Who even are you? Just another wealthy man thinking you can take whatever you want. Liam didn't raise his voice. Didn't threaten. He simply stood taller, stronger, with a calm that shook Marquise more than anger would have. I'm the father of her child, Liam said steadily. And the man who loves her. Marquise let out a harsh laugh. Love? Lily doesn't need love from you. She needs someone who actually knows her world. Someone who was there when she struggled. Someone who tried to control her. Lily cut in softly. Marquise blinked, startled. You didn't support me, Lily continued. You didn't encourage me. You made everything about pride and jealousy, not love. Marquise took a step back, thrown off as she held her ground. You can't leave me for him, he muttered. You just can't. Lily shook her head. Marquise, I left you long before Liam came into my life. You just didn't want to accept it. Liam stepped closer and placed a gentle hand on her back. This conversation is over, he said firmly. Marquise glared at Liam, chest heaving, then looked at Lily as if hoping she'd change her mind. She didn't. He clenched his jaw, eyes watering with anger and old heartbreak, then stormed off without another word. Lily exhaled shakily. Liam cupped her cheek gently. You okay? She leaned into his touch. Yes, she whispered. For the first time, yes. Rumors moved quickly through Houston's social circles, faster than truth, louder than facts. Soon, people started whispering that Liam had abandoned Fiona, that he'd fallen for a nurse, that Lily had come back just to trap him. And Liam was tired. Tired of lies. Tired of hiding. Tired of letting other people write his story. The opportunity came at a charity gala his company sponsored. Liam didn't want to attend, but he needed to face the world if he wanted to rebuild his life on truth. He walked in alone. The cameras flashed. Mr. Wentworth, where is Fiona? Is it true you're involved with another woman? Who is the mother of your unborn child? Liam stepped onto the small stage meant for welcoming guests. He didn't prepare a speech. He didn't need one. He looked over the crowd, investors, executives, socialites, people who judged Lily without knowing her heart. And he said clearly, I want to address something directly. The room stilled. My life has not been simple these past months. I've made choices that were influenced more by pressure than truth. He inhaled slowly. But today, I'm choosing honesty. The woman I love, the woman carrying my daughter, the woman who saved my son's life, is Lily Price. Murmurs rippled through the room. He continued, steady. She has been judged unfairly because of her profession and because of me. But let me be clear, Lily is not beneath this family. She is not a rumor, she is not a mistake. His voice deepened. She's my family. Gasps filled the air. Photographers angled for shots. Some people whispered in shock. But Liam only thought of Lily, what she deserved, what she'd endured, what he wanted to protect from this moment forward. And somewhere across Houston, Lily sat in bed, feet propped on pillows, eating crackers for heartburn. Relief, completely unaware that the man she loved had just defended her in front of the world. The next morning, Liam met with Fiona privately. She looked at him with sad acceptance. I watched your speech, she said. Liam nodded gently. You deserved the truth. And I'm sorry I didn't give it to you sooner. You love her, Fiona said simply. Yes. She exhaled slowly. Then go build the life you want. They ended on mutual respect. No yelling, no anger, no bitterness. But his family, that was different. His father called an emergency meeting. The moment Liam walked into the study, William slammed a newspaper onto the table. Heir chooses nurse over dynasty expectations. What have you done? William roared. You embarrassed this family. You chose a nurse with a scandal attached to her name over a respected woman with pedigree. Liam didn't flinch. I chose the woman who stood by me when I couldn't stand on my own. His mother stepped forward, tears in her eyes. Liam, people will think she manipulated you. That she planned. She didn't plan anything, Liam said firmly. She ran from the rumors. She left the city. She hid her pregnancy because she didn't want to make my life harder. His father scoffed. You expect us to believe that? I don't care what you believe, Liam said calmly. I'm done living for this family's image. His father's face reddened. If you continue with this, you're risking your position. Then I'll rebuild without your help. The room fell silent. Liam straightened. I love her. And I'm going to raise my children with her. That's final, his mother whispered softly. Children? Plural? Liam nodded. You have a granddaughter coming. Her eyes softened at those words. Softer than she intended. Even William's anger flickered into hesitation. But Liam didn't wait for permission. He left, knowing one thing. He was choosing his own family now. Healing didn't happen overnight, but it began in unexpected ways. Lily's grandmother, Matilda, was the first to soften toward Liam. When Lily introduced him properly, not as a wealthy heir, not as a boss, but as a man who loved her, Matilda watched him carefully. She observed the way he carried Lily's hospital bag, the way he rubbed her back during contractions that turned out to be Braxton Hicks, the way he greeted her with "Hi, Mama Matilda," like he'd always known her. Eventually, Matilda nodded approvingly. He's good for you, she said quietly. He looks at you like your answered prayer. Liam blinked rapidly, swallowing emotion. And Lily smiled softly. His mother softened next. She quietly attended one of Lily's appointments with him, sitting in the corner awkwardly but attentively. When she heard the baby's heartbeat for the first time, she covered her mouth and cried. She sounds strong, she whispered. Lily took her hand. She is. Even William began easing up, not suddenly, not perfectly, but slowly. He still struggled with the idea of Lily, but when he saw how Jack reacted to her, when he saw how Liam glowed with her nearby, something inside him shifted. One evening, he paused in the doorway as Liam spoke to Lily about baby names. William cleared his throat. If she makes you this happy, then she must be special, he said stiffly. It wasn't approval, but it was a start. Lily didn't want a big baby shower. She wanted small, intimate, meaningful. But her grandmother insisted. This child is bringing two worlds together. We're celebrating that. So they did. On a sunny Saturday afternoon, the community center buzzed with life. Gospel music played softly in the background. Children ran around with balloon animals. Friends from Lily's church brought food, mac and cheese, cornbread, baked chicken. Liam's mother brought a beautifully decorated diaper cake. Jack sat in a high chair wearing a tiny Big Brother shirt. And Liam stood beside Lily, hands protectively around her belly. At first, the room was awkward. Lily's aunts eyed Liam's wealthy relatives. Liam's relatives examined the unfamiliar church crowd. Everyone pretended not to stare at each other. But slowly, something beautiful happened. Matilda offered a plate of food to William. He accepted it. Liam's mother complimented a church member's crocheted baby blanket. The church member taught her the first stitch. Jack dropped his baby spoon. A teenager from Lily's choir picked it up and made him giggle. Small bridges formed everywhere. Then Liam stood up for a short speech. He held Lily's hand. I want to thank every person in this room, he began. Our two families come from different backgrounds, different experiences, different expectations, but today, the only thing that matters is love. He looked at Lily with eyes soft enough to melt stone. Lily didn't just save my son's life, she saved mine. And now she's giving me the gift of a daughter, a chance to build a family rooted in truth, not pressure. People clapped. Some cried. Liam kissed Lily's temple gently. This is our beginning, he whispered. All of us. And as laughter filled the room, as families mingled, as Lily felt protected and loved on both sides, she knew healing had truly started. The past had tried to stop their future, but faith carried them through, and love won. The sun rose gently over the small Houston neighborhood where Lily grew up, warm, soft, familiar. It was the kind of morning that made the air feel like a prayer. Outside New Hope Missionary Baptist Church, the parking lot overflowed with cars from every walk of life. Luxury vehicles lined up beside old pickup trucks. Women from Lily's grandmother's choir greeted Liam's relatives politely, offering programs and warm smiles. Inside, the church felt alive. The stained glass windows cast colors across the pews: gold, blue, red. The air was laced with the scent of lilies and fresh white roses. Soft gospel music hummed through the speakers as the pianist rehearsed one last time. Liam stood near the altar, hands clasped, heart pounding harder than any board meeting, any crisis, any moment of his entire life. Matilda walked toward him, cane tapping softly. "Are you nervous, son?" she asked. Liam swallowed. "More than anything." She smiled warmly. "Good. A man should feel something when God is about to change his life." He chuckled quietly. "You know, I never imagined my wedding would be here. At a place that shaped the woman who saved you?" she asked gently. "It was always going to be here." He nodded, humbled. Moments later, the music shifted. The congregation rose. The doors opened. And Lily appeared. She wore a simple white gown that hugged her belly gently, her curls pinned back with pearl accents. Her bouquet was made of white orchids and baby's breath, chosen because Alyssa once loved orchids and Lily wanted her spirit honored. Jack walked ahead of her holding a small sign. "Daddy, here comes our answered prayer." Liam's breath broke. The sanctuary blurred. Lily walked slowly, guided by her grandmother, her steps sure and steady. Her eyes stayed locked on Liam, full of peace, full of love, full of faith stronger than fear. When she reached him, he took her hands carefully. "You look like Grace," he whispered. "You look like home," she whispered back. The pastor smiled warmly before beginning. This was not a ceremony for spectacle or performance. It was a union built on faith that had been tested, broken, restored, and breathed back to life. Two communities blended effortlessly. Liam's family sitting respectfully beside Matilda's church members, all listening as the vows unfolded. "I promise," Liam said, voice steady, "to love you with a heart God rebuilt, and to raise our children with peace, not pressure." Tears streamed down Lily's cheeks. "I promise," she said softly, "to love you with patience, to honor everything you've survived, and to walk with you in faith, through whatever life brings." When the pastor proclaimed them husband and wife, the church erupted, not in polite applause, but in full, joyful celebration. Gospel singers rose from the pews, clapping and harmonizing. Jack clapped too, bouncing in his grandmother-in-law's arms. Liam kissed Lily gently, reverently, and for the first time in years, he felt whole. Lily went into labor 3 weeks early. It started at dawn, mild cramps, a strange quiet tension in her hips. She thought it was another false alarm. But when her water broke, Liam nearly tripped over his shoes trying to get her to the car. "Breathe, sweetheart," he said, voice trembling. "I am breathing. Drive." Lily snapped, gripping the dashboard through the contraction. Matilda sat in the back seat praying loudly. "Lord, steady her body and calm his nerves." Jack giggled the whole drive, thinking it was a family adventure. By the time they reached the hospital, the pain had intensified, strong, consistent, undeniable. Nurses rushed to help her, recognizing her immediately. "Lily Price?" "Yes. Let's get you into delivery." The room filled with warmth and anticipation. Liam stood at her side, holding her hand through every contraction. He whispered prayers. He rubbed her back. He thanked her aloud for choosing life, choosing him, choosing them. At one point Lily cried out, I can't do this." Liam pressed his forehead to hers. "You already are," he whispered. "And you're doing it beautifully." Hours passed. Finally, with one last push, the room filled with the most precious sound. A baby's cry. A girl. Their daughter. The doctor lifted her gently and placed her on Lily's chest. She was tiny, warm, crying loudly, full of life and promise. Lily sobbed, holding her close. Liam stood trembling beside them, tears streaming down his face. "She's here," Lily whispered. "She's perfect," Liam breathed. The nurse asked softly, "Her name?" Lily looked at him. He nodded. Together they said, "Alyssa Grace," a name carrying memory and miracle. A name linking past sorrow to new beginnings. a name symbolizing everything they had survived and rebuilt. Liam kissed Lily's forehead. "Thank you," he whispered, "for bringing her into the world, for saving us, for loving us." And Lily held their daughter tighter, whispering back, "It was always God." That evening, after the chaos settled and visitors left, the room grew quiet. Soft lights glowed. Alyssa Grace slept peacefully in a bassinet beside Lily's bed. Liam rocked Jack gently in a nearby chair, humming the little tune Alyssa used to play while pregnant. Jack eventually drifted off, his tiny hand gripping Liam's shirt. Liam looked at Lily. She looked at him. And a stillness washed over the room, sacred, tender, holy. Liam stood slowly and walked to Lily's bedside. "Can I sit with you?" he asked. She nodded. He climbed beside her carefully. She leaned into him, resting her head against his chest, their newborn daughter between them. Lily traced her finger along the baby's cheek. "She looks like you," she whispered. Liam shook his head. "She has your strength." Then he inhaled deeply. "I need to tell you something." Lily looked up at him. "When Alyssa died, I stopped praying," he admitted. "I stopped believing anything good could happen to me again. Every part of my life felt broken. I didn't know how to be a father. I didn't know how to breathe without feeling guilty." His voice cracked. "But then you came. And you saved my son. And you held my grief like it didn't scare you. And you somehow found love for a man who couldn't even find love for himself." He placed a hand over hers. "Lily Price Wentworth, you are my answered prayer. I didn't ask God for you. I didn't think I deserved someone like you. But he sent you anyway." Lily's tears fell silently. "I love you," he whispered, "in a way I didn't know was possible." She pressed her forehead against his. "I love you more," she said softly, "and I always will." Alyssa Grace stirred lightly, making a soft sound, almost like agreement. And the three of them sat there, wrapped in a moment so pure it felt like heaven touching earth. 2 weeks later, they brought Alyssa Grace home. The living room was warm, decorated with welcome signs Jack had scribbled and Matilda had proudly taped up. Photos of their wedding hung on the wall. Baby clothes were neatly folded on the couch. Liam carried the sleeping newborn inside, while Lily held Jack on her hip. He watched his daughter sleep and whispered, "I'll protect you with everything I am." Jack toddled closer, pointing at the baby. "Sissy?" "Yes." Lily smiled. "Your sister." He leaned forward and kissed her tiny forehead. Liam wrapped an arm around Lily from behind. "This is what peace feels like," he said quietly. Lily rested against him. "This is what purpose feels like," she added. They walked to the couch together. Liam held Alyssa. Lily held Jack. The house was silent in the sweetest way, the kind of silence that meant everyone finally felt safe. Liam kissed Lily's temple. "Our family," he whispered, "wasn't built by blood, it was built by faith." She nodded. "And faith never fails. Sometimes family isn't defined by where you come from, but by who God sends to help heal you. Love can rise from grief. Purpose can rise from pain. And when two people choose faith over fear, their future becomes bigger than their past. If this story touched your heart, bestie, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Drop a comment saying, "Faith builds family." Share this with someone who still believes in second chances and unexpected miracles. Your support helps us keep telling stories that heal, inspire, and restore hope.